Hello everyone, I'm Sakshi and welcome back to MemoNeet. So I'm a second year physiotherapy student and here at MemoNeet, I'm your faculty or your instructor or your teacher for zoology section. So basically I'll be discussing the full test series and the part test series that we've been focusing on at MemoNeet here for this NEET. So the part test series have already been completed. You can go and check it out in on our YouTube channel in the playlist. And now we're focusing on the full length series. So the full test series one, the full length paper one has been completed and discussed. There were a few discrepancies in that paper as well, but they all have been cleared out. And if there are any more questions or some of your queries have been left unanswered, please let us know and we'll try to respond back to you as soon as possible. Sometimes there may be a delay in responding to queries, but I'm making sure and I assure you that all of your queries have been read and are being focused on. So today we'll be discussing about the full test 2. I'll be talking about the zoology section. So let's begin. For question number 151, the question states the pathogen responsible for causing elephantiasis are transmitted to a person through dash. So what is elephantiasis? Elephantiasis is also known as filariasis. Okay. So it's a disease which is caused by what? Caused by a parasitic worm. The worm is known as Bushraria bancrofti. So the causative organism for elephantiasis will be Bushraria bancrofti. How is it spread? It's spread by a female mosquito vector. What is a vector? So there are two things. One is a causative organism. The other is a vector. Vector is the transmitter. Okay. Causative organism will be Bushraria bancrofti. Vector will be how it's transmitted. So suppose, is it transmitted by droplets? That's the first option mentioned, right? That's obviously wrong. How? So if a person next to me, sitting next to me has elephantiasis and he sneezes or coughs, for example. So will I also, and if I come in contact with those droplets, will I be getting elephantiasis? No. So what will happen? How will I get elephantiasis if a person next to me is bit by a female mosquito? The female mosquito will get infected with the same germs, with the same pathogen that causes elephantiasis. And then the female mosquito comes and bites me. That will cause the transmission and that will cause elephantiasis to occur as a disease for me. So the answer is female mosquito vector. Moving to the next question. How is skeletal muscle similar to visceral muscle? Okay, so there are four options given. They differ according to the shape, according to the nucleus, according to the filaments present, according to the type of bands. Okay, so now we know that they are in this question, they're referring to two types of muscle fibers. That is, one is skeletal muscle fibers, one is visceral muscle fibers. What are skeletal muscle fibers? Let's see. Skeletal muscle fibers are muscles present in the skeleton system. Visceral muscles are what? Visceral muscles are muscles which are relating to the viscera of the body or the visceral organs of the body. So let's compare. Skeletal muscle fibers do what? They mainly control the voluntary functions. Visceral muscles mainly control the involuntary functions of the body. So now if you compare the shape, so skeletal muscle fibers and visceral fibers. Skeletal muscles are cylindrical in shape, whereas visceral muscles will be what shape? Will be spindle shape. Skeletal muscles are again, just a second. Yeah. Skeletal muscles are again multinucleated, whereas smooth muscles are single nucleated and they have a centrally placed nucleus. So if we compare these two, the shape is different. That is what cylindrical and it is spindle shaped. And the nuclei, obviously, they do not have one nucleus. As skeletal muscle fibers have what? They have multi-nucleus or multinuclei. Presence of actin and myosin filaments. Yes, that's correct. Because all of them have actin and myosin filaments. That's what makes them a muscle, right? That's what helps them undergo contractions. Do all of them have light and dark bands? No. So the presence of light and dark bands helps to cause striations. And what is striations? What are striations and what muscles said with the striated muscle? The skeletal or the voluntary muscle. So the visceral muscles lack striations and they are known. And that is why they will have absence of light and dark. So that's not a similarity. Okay, moving on to question number 153. Cells that release heparin and histamine into the blood are known as what? Okay, so it's basically basophils are involved. Let's see the explanation that is given here. If there's anything more to the explanation, I'll definitely be talking about it. Otherwise, the explanation that we've aimed to provide are more than sufficient. So let's see. Basophils are white blood cells involved in allergic reactions and immune responses. They contain granule-filled substances, including histamine and heparin. So here we are focusing on the answer, which is the first option, which is basophils. So what are present in basophils? What are basophils in the first place? They are WBCs. So what are the types of WBCs? There are two major types, granulocytes and agranulocytes, right? So granulocytes are eosinophils, basophils, neutrophils. What are agranulocytes? Monocytes and lymphocytes. Now, if we talk about basophils, they are involved in allergic and immune responses. Okay. So whenever they burst, okay, so whenever infection comes in the body, the WBCs may burst. So when they burst, they'll release they are granule filled and they'll release the substances. Those granules will contain histamine and heparin. So whenever there's an allergen or there's any infection in the body, and basophils try to attack it. The infection's attacking our body, basophils try to defend our body, right? By fighting against the infection. So they'll get degranulated, and what will release? Histamine, which triggers an allergic response. So this will cause the inflammatory process to occur. So hence, basophil are the cells that release heparin and histamine in the blood. Now, the next question. What is the name of the process that converts spermatids into mature spermatozoa? Okay. So now we have to form spermatozoa from spermatid. This process is known as spermiogenesis. What is spermatogenesis? Spermatogenesis is formation of sperm. So when we have sperms formed, that time it is spermatogenesis. But here spermatids are being formed, which is known as spermiogenesis. Next question. Sorry, one second. Yeah. ABO blood group is an example of. Okay, let's see. So ABO blood group that will have the genes. Let's see the alleles that will be present. So that will have IA, IB, and IO. All of the alleles, right? Let me just write it down here. Okay, so I've written down the three alleles present in ABO blood group, that is IA, IB, and IO. Okay, so now if we go to see the three alleles, since all three alleles are present at the same time and are mutually expressed, they are known as multiple alleles. So ABO blood group will satisfy the example of multiple allelism, right? Now, codominance. What is codominance? So that two of the alleles are present, are acting as a dominant genes at the same time. So IA and IB are both dominant and they both are being represented here. So that is why it's codominant. And is it dominance? Yes, because I and IV are both dominant over IO. So that's why it shows an example of dominance. So that is why all three options are correct. That is multiple alleles, multiple alleles, codominance, and dominance. But now, what's the question? This twist in this question is that here they mention only codominance. Does it show only codominance? No, because it's also showing multiple allelism and dominance, right? Does it show only dominance? No, because it's also showing multiple allelism and codominance. So the correct answer as per the statements mentioned is multiple alleles, because they're not saying that it shows only multiple allelism. It shows multiple allelism. That is correct. So it's a slightly different play of words as we've seen in the previous question. So the correct answer for this is 155. That is answer number 2. Yeah. Now, next question. Let me just erase this out. So now for question number 156. An unaffected carrier female of hemophilia transmits the disease of hemophilia 2. Okay. Okay, so now for question number 156, we can see that an unaffected carrier female of hemophilia transmits the disease of hemophilia to whom if the female progeny is normal and not a carrier. So let's see. So if we have drawn the genetic mix-up over here, so let's see how it gets divided. So if we have a female and a male, obviously the genetic, the distribution. Sorry, everyone. So yeah, so obviously the distribution of genes will occur when a female and a male reproduce, right? So if we have the female whose genes or alleles are XC, where C will represent any character, any allele that is in this case hemophilia. Okay, so the allele for hemophilia. So we have XC and we have X that forms the female genotype. And for the male genotype, we have XY. Okay, so the chromosomes of male are X1, female is XX, where the female mentioned here is an unaffected carrier. Since it's unaffected, we have XCX, where this acts as the recessive gene. But if it would have been an affected female, then it will be XCXC, because it will both of the alleles will act as dominant, and the female will suffer from hemophilia. Here it's an unaffected female carrier. So it's XCX and XY. Now, when both of them are, let's solve this. So we have XCX, XCY, XX, XY. Correct? Okay, this will be XX. Just a second. Yeah. So now if we have, now they're saying that the disease of hemophilia will be transmitted to who? So we have to see where the C, that is the hemophilia gene, is present. So it's over here and it's only over here, right? And it will also come where I have not written this somehow. So yeah, XCXN will be here, which is XCY. So it's on two things, two genotypes, that is XCX and XCY. Other two are normal. So what will be? There will be four progeny formed, which will be two females and two males. The one male is normal, the other male is affected. One female is normal, the other female is affected. No, she's a carrier, so she's unaffected because there's only one X that is carrying the hemophilia gene. So now let's see. Now they are saying here if female progeny is normal and not a carrier. So if the female progeny is not a carrier and is normal, so that will go out of, like, this will not be considering your, because they are saying that both the female progeny are not a carrier, they're normal. Okay. So what will be, so disease will be transmitted to who? In this case, the disease will be transmitted to the male. That is the sum of the male progeny. Obviously, there are two and only one is getting affected. So it's just sum of the male progeny. So the correct answer is option number 2. I hope this was clear. If there's any confusion, please drop it down in the comment section below. So now for question number 157, what are the two statements? Let me just erase this out. Okay. Okay, so now for question number 157, we have two statements. Statement 1 is Human Genome Project was a 13-year project and was completed in 2013. Statement 2 is Human Genome Project was coordinated by the US Department of Energy and National Institute of Health. So this is an NCERT statement. I'll be reading it out from the explanation and let's correlate. So Human Genome Project was 13-year project. Yes, that's correct. I'm reading it out from the explanation because it's an NCERT line. So to not miss out any other keywords, let's just focus directly on the line itself in print, and it was completed in 2003, focusing on 2003. So here the answer correctly, when was Human Genome Project finished? In 2003. Here they are saying 2013. In stress, the answer will be marked wrong, right? So please focus. Okay. And they are saying Human Genome Project was coordinated by the US Department of Energy and National Institute of Health. Yes. So now we have statement 1 is incorrect. The statement 2 is correct. Okay. Moving to the next question. A medicinal plant, Rauwolfia vomitaria, growing in Himalayan ranges, shows variation in terms of potency and concentration of chemical, that is reserpine, that it produces. It is an example of what? Okay. So it's an example of genetic diversity. Now, what is genetic diversity? It's just shown by Rauwolfia vomitaria. And what will happen in that case? Let's see. Okay, so moving on to question number 172. Kidneys are reddish brown bean-shaped structures situated between the levels of dash and dash. Okay. I honestly myself keep forgetting between what levels are kidneys situated. So let me just tell you, and I'll make a method for it as well. So I always draw this down in my paper. We have neck, we have the thorax, we have the lumbar, we have the sacrum, and we have the coccyx, right? So for the thorax, the last one is 12, right? T12. And for the lumbar, the first one will be L1, right? Okay. So now when we begin from here, let's see. The answer is thorax and lumbar. So it's in the last thoracic and the first lumbar. Is it correct? Or is the last thoracic in the third lumbar? First thoracic and third lumbar, third thoracic and last lumbar. So answer for 172 is 3, which is between the last thoracic and the third lumbar. So first and second and third. Okay. So now how I've remembered this is that if we have T12, and obviously we can think that the kidney is not so big that will go up to the thorax, to the sacral and the coccyx, right? It will obviously between the thorax and the lumbar. That's one thing that we're clear about. This is just a trick to remember, okay, guys? So now after that, we have 1, we have 2, and we have 3, correct? So now we know that 1 and 2. So these are already coming in T12, right? So it will go up to where? It will go up to to 3. 1, 2, and 3 will always come together. But now T1 and 2 is the done. So what will come with 3? So we have it as T12 to L3. Yes, I hope you all understood. Okay, so T12 to L3, right? And close to the dash of the abdomen cavity. So what is it close to? It's close to the dorsal inner wall. Obviously, it's not on our stomach, right? It's behind. It's situated posteriorly. So it's to the dorsal inner wall of the abdominal cavity. So the answer is 3. Next question. On an average, dash of blood is filtered by the kidneys per minute, which constitutes roughly dash of blood pumped out by the heart by the ventricle of the heart in a minute. Okay. So how much blood do we have? We have total 5 liters of blood, right? Now, all of it is pumped up clearly because all of the blood keeps replacing. So we can see that we should remember at least one of these two blanks we need to know. So on an average, how much? 1100 to 1200 is filtered out. So of 5, if we have 1100 to 1200, right? So let me write it as, suppose we consider it as 1000. So we have 1000 of 5 liters, which is 5000 milliliter, right? So that will be, cut out all of this. So we have 1/5. So what we need to remember is that 1/5 of the blood is pumped out by each ventricle is being filtered by the kidneys per minute. So the answer is 1000 to 1100 or 1100 to 1200. Now we have to try to remember that it's 1100 to 1200 here. There's no method as such for it. 1100 to 1200 and 1/5. Now, if we see the next is, okay, visceral muscles, cardiac muscles, striatal muscles, and skeletal muscles. Let's see. So cardiac muscle is the easiest option. Where will it be situated? Let's see. So cells assemble in a branching pattern located in the inner walls of the alimentary canal. Obviously, cardiac will not be in the alimentary canal. Involved in locomotor actions? No. Are they striped? No, because they're involuntary. So they'll not be striped. Okay, what is striped? The striated muscles. So what will cardiac be? They assemble in a branching pattern. Correct? Yes, correct. So for 174, the answer is option number 1, where we can see that D matches with 1. So cardiac muscles are with a branching pattern. Where are visceral muscles? Obviously, I told you they're related to the viscera of the body. So viscera is the other involuntary organs, right? So digestion is one involuntary organ. Reproduction is reproductive tract also has the same lining. So alimentary canal and reproductive tract has visceral muscles because they are located in the viscera of our body. So it's A, which is option number 2. Then you have striated muscles, which are striped, as we know. So it's C4. And skeletal muscles in locomotion because it's to the skeletal system. So the answer is C3. Next, for 175, a detailed study of the myofibril has established that the striated appearance is due to distribution pattern of two important proteins, that is actin and myosin. Right. Light band contains dash and is known as dash a dash. Dark band is called dash dash dash. So we'll remember 3 things for this. The light band, let's see. The light band, okay, since it is ending with an I, it's known as the isotropic band, okay, or the I band. Correct. So let's see. So I band or isotropic band is together. I band or isotropic band is together. Now, what is it known as? Does it have actin or does it have myosin? So it has actin. Now, somehow we have to try to remember this, but actin is present in the light band. So this is the correct answer. For the dark band, it's myosin, which is A, and anisotropic band. So the answer for 175 will be option number 1. 1 second. Yes. Now moving on to 176. A synapse is formed by the membranes of dash and a postsynaptic neuron. So obviously, if it's formed between a postsynaptic neuron, it is obviously supposed to have a presynaptic membrane. Let's see this. Okay. So this part is my synapse. Okay, or here be the synaptic vesicles. So now this has to be my presynaptic membrane. This has to be my postsynaptic membrane. So a synapse is formed by the membranes of a presynaptic membrane or a presynaptic neuron, obviously, because this is a neuron, this is a neuron. Since this is the membrane present before the synapse, it's a presynaptic membrane or a presynaptic neuron. It's a postsynaptic neuron. So presynaptic neuron and a postsynaptic neuron, which may or may not be separated by a gap called the synaptic cleft. Okay, so the answer for this will be, let's check it out if I am wrong or not. So 176, the answer is 3, which is postsynaptic neuron, presynaptic neuron, and the synaptic cleft. Correct? Done. But now the difference here is 1 also stays the same thing, 3 also stays the same thing, but the order is different. So since here it's obviously post, so here it has to be pre. So the answer will be 176, 3. This was just a little bit tricky at the end. Otherwise, it was basically a conceptual question. For 177, the hemispheres are connected by a track of nerve fibers known as the cerebellum, the medulla oblongata, the pons, or the corpus callosum. So it's known as the corpus callosum, which only connects the two hemispheres. This is a statement we need to remember. Which part of the brain is responsible for thermoregulation? Obviously, the hypothalamus helps in temperature regulation or thermoregulation. So answer for 178 is 3. Next, for 179, osteoporosis can occur due to, okay. So we know that old women face difficulty to walk or they have backache continuously. And this is mostly in postmenopausal women, right? So and who have more degenerative changes after the age of 50. So what happens? Postmenopausally, the estrogen in our body decreases. Since the estrogen in the body is decreasing, bones start to become weaker over time. So osteoporosis can occur due to decreased level of estrogen. That is 179.4. For 180, which one of the following hormones, though synthesized elsewhere, is stored and released by the master gland? What is the master gland? The pituitary gland. What is stored and released? Which is synthesized somewhere else, but stored and released from the pituitary gland? It's the antidiuretic hormone. So where is the antidiuretic hormone stored and synthesized? Let's see. So the antidiuretic hormone, firstly, we refer that the master gland is the pituitary gland, okay? And it has two parts, the anterior pituitary and the posterior pituitary, right? Now, the anterior pituitary does everything on its own. So it has its own hormone. That's why it's anterior, because उसको आगे रख दिया है. Because तो अपना काम खुद कर रहा है, तो रह आगे. And the posterior pituitary stores and releases hormones that are synthesized elsewhere. So posterior is like the storage part. So there we'll have ADH, okay, which is antidiuretic hormone. It will, yeah. So that's all. What does antidiuretic hormone do? Pertaining to its name, antidiuretic means it will try to prevent water loss from the body. Okay. Now we have let's see the other options. Okay, the other options are not important. Yeah, what we need to remember is MSH is produced by the cells of intermediate lobe of pituitary gland. So we spoke about anterior pituitary, we spoke about posterior pituitary, but also the intermediate lobe secretes melanocyte stimulating hormone. For 181. Okay. Okay, so now let's go to question number 181. Where the question states, how many of the given statements regarding male accessory ducts are correct? First, the male male sex accessory ducts include retitestis, vas efferentia, epididymis, and vas deferens. Okay. Then the seminiferous tubules of testis open into vas efferentia through the retitestis. See, there are too many statements. Let me just focus on the correct option. So there are how many correct statements, and we'll read them out. So the answer is option number 3, which is 6 correct statements. And there are 7 options. So let's see which one is the incorrect option. So this first statement is correct. The second statement is partially correct. The third statement is correct. The fourth statement is correct. The fifth statement is correct. I'm just reading it out here. Then we'll be discussing each statement. The sixth statement is incorrect. Let's just focus on the incorrect statement first. So the sixth statement says ejaculatory ducts store and transfer the sperms from the testis to the outside through the urethra. Okay, so this is incorrect because they do not store the sperms. They just act as a transfer. It's basically a road or highway. Like there's no traffic jam over there. It just passes through. So the ejaculatory duct does not store the sperms. It transfers the sperm and the seminal fluid from the vas deferens and seminal vesicles to the ureters, to the urethra for ejaculation or during the process of ejaculation. Okay, so that's all. The other statements are correct. Right. So the seventh statement is correct. Now let's see all the correct statements one by one. For the seventh statement, the urethra originates from the urinary bladder, obviously. So we have the bladder, then we have the ureters, and then there's the urethra also. From the bladder, it extends to the penis to the external opening called the urethral meatus. This is correct. It's basically anatomy. I cannot explain much, but it's anatomically a correct statement. For the sixth statement, we discussed that it's wrong, as ejaculatory does not store it. It just helps in transfer. And it outside through the urethra. Next is vas deferens receives a duct from the seminal vesicles and open into the urethra as the ejaculatory duct. That is correct. That's what we said, right? Ejaculatory duct through the urethra. Fourth statement, the epididymis leads to vas deferens that ascends to the abdomen and loops over the urinary bladder. Again, an anatomical statement, which is correct. The vas efferentia leave the retitestis and open into the epididymis. Open into the epididymis located along the posterior surface of each kidney. Where's the epididymis? On the posterior surface. If this is my testis, I think I said kidney. I'm so sorry. If this is my testis and it's on its posterior surface, so it's the epididymis. Okay. Other two statements we already discussed. For 182, some important events in the human-female reproductive cycle are given below. Arrange them in proper sequence. Okay. The secretion of FSH occurs, growth of corpus luteum, growth of follicle and oogenesis, ovulation, or sudden increase in the level of LH. Obviously, let's see for 182. Okay, so whenever the sudden, when does ovulation occur? On the 14th day, right? So when there's sudden increase in the level of LH, that is localizing hormone. After that only there can be ovulation, right? So the answer here is option number 2, which is first there's A. So first FSH will be released, which will lead to the growth of the follicles, and then there will be oogenesis. Okay, oogenesis is formation of the oogonia or the ovum. After that, there is sudden increase in the level of LH. So first there's FSH, then it's LH. So to remember, also we have A, B, C, D, E, F. F comes first, right? So FSH increases first, and then there is LH surge. after LH surge, what happens is that there is ovulation. As I said, on the 14th day, we have maximum LH in our body, and then there is ovulation. And then obviously there's corpus luteum, which changes to corpus albicans, and then it is destroyed. Okay, so that's the correct statement. The next is like the correct option for haploid cells. Okay, so now we have primary oocytes. I'm just opening the answer here. So the answer is option number 2. Secondary spermatocytes, first polar body, and the ovum. So we need to sort of remember that all of these are haploid. So let's see what is diploid and what is haploid and remember it accordingly. Primary oocyte is diploid. How is that formed? Because it's formed by mitosis. So the ovum that was there already, that is what caused it to form a diploid cell. Right. So it is by mitosis. Secondary spermatocyte is formed due to meiosis. So it's a haploid structure. Spermatids are again haploid structure, but they're formed due to mitosis, right? But they are formed from a haploid structure, so their constituents will remain the same. Genetic makeup will remain the same. Next, we have given below are 4 methods, A to D, and their mode of action achieving contraception. Okay. So now we have the pill. The pill does what? Does it prevent the sperms from bleaching? Does it prevent implantation, prevent ovulation, or semen containing no sperms? Obviously, the pill will not stop anything with the semen, right? So what will the pill do? The pill will prevent ovum. So basically, the female has the pill because the pill will prevent ovulation. The condom prevents the sperm from reaching the cervix because it acts as a barrier. Vasectomy is done for males, so the semen will contain no sperms. It's a little bit logical as well. And copper T prevents implantation. Now, which of the following sexually transmitted diseases are completely curable? So we need to know this. For completely curable, it's syphilis and trichomoniasis. So what is not curable? Which is the not curable infections are hepatitis B and herpes. Now next is section B. So section B. Okay, so we're back again. Now let's focus on section B for zoology for full test 2. I hope everything has been going smoothly and is clear till now. If there's anything that requires more explanation, because all of the explanation cannot be provided in this short video, right? It's a test series discussion video. If you need more explanation, you can check out our app and you can check out for the test series. I'm so sorry. You can check out for the lecture videos, right? There have been bite videos also being created for each topic. So 2-minute videos for each topic, which will help clear your concepts and make them crisp. So now let's focus on section B, 186. It's a question from evolution, where the extinct human who lives for these many years ago in this place, that is Europe, Asia, and parts of Africa, with short stature, heavy eyebrows, retreating forehead, large jaws with heavy teeth, stocky bodies, lumbering gait, and stoop posture was now safe. In this statement, I cannot provide any explanation as such because it's a direct line from NCERT. Their characteristics. There's no point of me listing down just the characteristics, right? So you all need to know the characteristics of each and every option mentioned here. Homo habilis, a Cro-Magnon human, Neanderthal human, Ramapithecus, as well as Homo erectus and Homo sapiens too. So now for this, I'm just telling you the answer. The answer is option number 2, which is the Neanderthal man, and the characteristic mentioned in the question are for the Neanderthal man, as mentioned in the NCR. For 157, if we consider the population in hardy and equilibrium, then which of the following is true? Population is constantly evolving. Yes, every population has to evolve. Yes or no? Let's see. Then after that, the next is genetic drift is negligible. Allele frequency after one round of random mating changes from the original frequency. Okay. Hardy-Weinberg is a principal null model for population genetics. And allele frequency change from generation to generation. Okay. So now here, each option has been discussed. So I will be referring here and explaining to you in a better manner. Because saying the whole explanation to me may help me saying the whole explanation may be such that I may miss out a point. So since we have taken direct references from the NCERT, it makes it easier. Okay, so for question number 187, if we consider population and Hardy-Weinberg equilibrium, then which of the following statements are true? So now population is constantly evolving. Okay, no, population is not constantly evolving in Hardy-Weinberg equilibrium. Is genetic drift negligible? Yes, that's correct. So this is the correct option. Now B and along with it, it's either C or D. Let's see D. Hardy-Weinberg principle is a fundamental null model for population genetics. Yes, it's true. It's a null model. Why? Because it provides a baseline against to which compare observed allele and genotype frequencies in population to detect deviations that may indicate evolutionary processes at work. So basically, this model does not help us in any fixed certain way. So it's considered as a Null model for population genetics. These are certain lines that you need to know. Next is 188. Malaria can be understood well by which statement? Okay. It's caused by what plasmodium malaria? A macrosporic protozoan is responsible for malaria. Let's see the next statement. Bite of female Anopheles mosquito will lead to malaria. Will always lead to malaria. Always emphasis. Chills and high fever occurring every 3 to 4 days are because of hemozoid. And sporozoites are formed by the mosquito's body. Now, which can it can be understood by which statement most clearly? So it's option number 4. Sporozoites are formed in the mosquito's body. Okay. Why? Because Plasmodium is caused, Plasmodium are microscopic protozoa. Firstly, Plasmodium vivax or Plasmodium malaria are different types of organisms, right? So now if we see here, so how does it spread? It is spread by female Anopheles mosquito. Will always lead to malaria? No, not always. Children high fever occur, but every 6 to 7 days. And yeah, and Plasmodium is not macroscopic, but it is microscopic. So that's the options. So the last one is correct, which is sporozoites are formed in the mosquito's body. Next statement, smoking addiction is harmful because it produces polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, which cause what? Okay. Obviously, they cause cancer. They cause cancer. So smoking is addictive. Smoking is harmful. Smoking is carcinogenic. Next statement for 190. Let me just zoom it. Okay. Chloramphenicol, ethidium bromide, DNA ligase, and calcium. Let's see. So now we have agarose gel staining, which will be helped with ethidium bromide. DNA ligase helps to join. Ligate means join. Okay. Calcium and chloramphenicol. Calcium and chloramphenicol. Chloramphenicol is a selectable marker, and calcium makes the bacterial cell component to take up the DNA. Okay, so we have D2. D2 is in this and in this option. C is same. So we have A. A we will see with 3. Okay, so the answer is option number 2. Let's check for 190. The answer is, where is the answer given? Just a minute, guys. 190, the answer is here, right, which is option number 2. So 191, let's see. The tag polymerase enzyme is obtained from Thermobacillus ferridoxil or from Thermus aquaticus. Obviously, it's tag. Nah, so tag stands for TAQ, which is Thermus aquaticus. So the answer for this is 191, which is 4. That's the correct answer. 192, Vishnaria bancrofti. I said, what is it called? Elephantiasis. So what is the other name for elephantiasis? Filariasis. So it's A3. Both these options have A3. Let's compare B. Trichophyton rubrum. Okay. Then we have Plasmodium vivax. If we don't know one option, assuming I do not know what this option. So I'll move on to the next and perform by elimination of option. So now Plasmodium vivax causes what? Malaria, right? So it's C2, which is only in this option. Then now Trichophyton is a ringworm, and Haemophilus influenza, what does that do? It helps in pneumonia. It does not help in pneumonia. I'm so sorry. It causes pneumonia. For 193, somaclonal variations are the one produced during what? Okay. So somaclonal variations occur due to genetic changes and can happen during tissue culture. Mainly, that is the phase where somatic changes occur. Okay. So how does it occur? It can be produced during tissue injury. That's all. Then dash is the property of a living organism to emit light is well marked in. Okay. So that's bioluminescence. Since we can guess from luminescent, it is light. Bioluminescence and is well marked in what? Okay. So the answer for this, do not remember the exact examples mentioned in your book. Okay, yeah, it's Ctenophora. Ctenophora has bioluminescence. So it is well marked. That's all. Next question, question number 195. We are proceeding towards the end of the paper, guys. So 195, let's see initially when the about the frog. So the eyes, the body, the neck and tail, mouth, and a pair of nostrils. Does it have eyes? Yes, eyes are present. So it's A3. Let's see. But that's not the correct answer. The answer is A2, which is bulge and covered by nictitating membrane. We have to see all options. So are they divisible into head and trunk? The eyes cannot be divisible, right? Eyes are bulged. They have huge eyes and they are covered by nictitating membrane. Similarly, how we are covered by eyelashes and eyelids. Okay. Next is the body. The body is what? The body is divisible into head and trunk. The neck and tail and mouth and a pair of nostrils. Okay. So neck and tail. Do you have a neck and a tail? So no, it doesn't have one. And does it have a mouth and a pair of nostrils? Yes, it does. So 195, the answer is 1. Okay, now moving on to 196. The curve mentioned in this diagram is a sigmoid-shaped curve and it is known as the oxygen dissociation curve. I'm so sorry. It's known as the oxygen dissociation curve. Okay, so it's the carbon dioxide absorption curve? No, it's oxygen dissociation curve. and is useful in studying the effect of PCO2, H plus, etc. on dash with hemoglobin. What does it do? It helps in binding of oxygen with hemoglobin. So the answer for 196 is option number 3. For 197, which is the following are not true for leukocytes. Neutrophils are the most abundant cells, 60 to 60% of WBCs. Is that correct? So I don't think so. That's correct. So answer for 197 is 3. 3 is C and D. So which of the following are not true? So as we saw, so which of the following statements are not true for leukocytes? Neutrophils are the most abundant cells and make up for 60 to 65% of the total WBCs. Is that right? So as I spoke, there are two types of WBCs, granulocytes and agranulocytes. Eosinophil, basophil neutrophils are all granulocytes, and different types of agranulocytes are monocytes and lymphocytes. Neutrophils are the most abundant cells, which is 60 to 65% of the total WBCs. That is correct. What is the least? The basophils are the least. So both A and B are correct, and they make up 0.5 to 1%. Then what happens? Neutrophils and monocytes are phagocytic cells, which destroy foreign organisms. Correct. And eosinophils are 2 to 3%. So eosinophils are 2 to 3%. Here it's 20 to 30%. So this statement is definitely wrong. And where D is wrong, it's in the third option. So option number C and option number D are wrong. Where eosinophils secrete histamine, serotonin, and heparin? No, they do not. And eosinophils are 2 to 3%. So for question number 198, the assertion is that ammonia is excreted through diffusion across body surfaces or through gill surfaces. So any method where ammonia is secreted or excreted, for that matter, is known as ammonotalism, and the animals are known as ammonotelics. So now we see, so ammonia is soluble, right? So it passes through body surfaces, through gill surfaces, and then it gets soluble. And why does this happens in whom? In bony fishes, aquatic amphibians, aquatic insects, who excrete ammonia by ammonotalism. So the answer, so the assertion is correct, the reasoning is also correct, and there are correct explanations for each other. So answer for 198 is option number 4. Answer for 199, Hydra can use its dash for capturing its prey. Answer for 199, Hydra can use its dash for capturing its prey. Hydra has tentacles for capturing its prey. So, and there's only one option that has tentacles, which is 199, option number 2. And it also uses it for locomotion. Correct. Which of the following have the smallest brain capacities? So the answer for this is Homo habilis. Homo habilis has the smallest brain capacities. Now, all of these are questions from evolutions where there can't be much explanation because we do not have enough data to prove the explanations, or they are just mere facts which cannot be proved, right? So for the 200th question, the answer is Homo habilis. You all can have a detailed explanation is mentioned here. And since the video may get a little longer, I am not explaining each and every point of this because I will just have to read them out and points will have to be memorized. And there is no particular trick for this. As many tricks that I knew for the questions mentioned in this paper, I have discussed to full extent. And if there's anything that comes up, we will make short videos regarding tricks and tips or quick methods to solve questions. Because what mainly people focus on is that tips and tricks for physics and chemistry. No one talks about the tricks that you may use to remember certain biology topics. Because trust me, the cycles and the glycolysis cycle, the Krebs cycle, all of it, we forget. We keep forgetting it. So there has to be some trick to help us remember it, right? Because till today we do forget it. So yes, so whatever tricks I have come across, I have shared. And if there's anything that comes up, if there are a lot of new tricks that I find, I may make short videos or shorts about the same. So till then, stay tuned and stay tuned for full test 3. The discussion of full test 3 will be done soon. Do appear for all of the full tests, do appear for our part test, do check out the various questions and the various features of MemoNeet app. Always just be with us, be a MemoNeetian, and we are hoping that everything falls into place, everything goes well. Always fill an exam. Thank you so much. Hello everyone. So actually, certain part of questions did not get recorded. So I'm re-recording them and adding them here. So let's move on to question number 159, which wasn't recorded, or is from where the recording did not happen. So 159, notochord is a mesoderm-derived rod-like structure formed where, okay, as we know that we have chordates, okay. So chordates, we have a spinal cord is present at the back side, right? Similarly, if there's a spinal cord at the back, there's a dorsum, notochord will also be at the dorsal side where during embryonic development in some animals, right? So the answer is 159, 2. Moving on to the next question, 160. Which of the following statements are true for phylum Chordata? For phylum Chordata, okay, the true statements in this case are option number 4, which is B and C. So let's say the B statement, which is in vertebrata, notochord is present during the embryonic period only. Is that true? Yes. After that, it is replaced. And C, central nervous system is dorsal and hollow. This is also correct. Let's see the incorrect statement. Okay, these two statements are correct because they are broadly facts. Like if I tell you that humans have two eyes, they have two eyes. So yes, they are facts. They cannot be explained much. Now, if we see the first statement in Eurochordata, notochord extends from head to tail and is present throughout their life. So no, it does not. It's not present from head to tail. It is present only in the larval tail. Okay, so that's wrong. The statement. Then for the D statement, chordata is 1 to 3 subphyla, hemichordata, tunichordata, cephalochordata. That's also wrong because hemichordata is not a subphylum for chordata. The subphyla for chordata are urochordata, cephalochordata, and tunichordata. Moving to the next question, which is question number 161. I think the camera was not working, so sorry for that. But for the 161 question, yeah. So we have acoelomate angles, but they're bilaterally symmetrical. So they must be advanced, right? Now we know we have acoelomate, pseudocoelomate, and coelomates. So the point from pseudocoelomates, anything before that is known as an acoelomate. After that is a coelomate, but it's also bilaterally symmetrical. So it will be towards the end of acoelomates, right? Which will be platyhelminthes, because we know from aschelminthes we have pseudocoelomates. So 161, the correct answer is 2. 162. Okay, there are two statements now. Roundworms have organ system level of body augmentation. It's correct. The body of Ascalmenthes is circular in cross section. This is also correct. But does it have any relation? Same way, no, it does not have any relation, by the way. So, same if you go to see, if I tell you that human beings have two eyes, and then I tell you human beings have 2 ears, they are correct. But is it because that human beings have two eyes, so they have 2 ears? No, there's no relation in that. Okay, so the answer is assertion and reason are correct, but reason is not the correct explanation for the assertion. And that is answer number 2. 163. Fully digested food called chyme or chyme is passed from the stomach to the first part of small intestine for frogs. And digestion of food takes place by action of HCl and gastric juices separated from the walls of the stomach. Okay. The first statement is incorrect. You'd be wondering why. The only catch here is that it's not fully digested food. It's partially digested. So partially digested food called chyme is passed from stomach to the first part of small intestine. So the answer is statement 1 is false, but statement 2 is true, which is 163. The answer is number 2. Okay, let me just check if that's the correct answer. Yeah, perfect. 164, frogs respire on land and in water by what? They have two major methods for breathing, right? They also breathe by their lungs and through their skin. So it's two different methods. That is 164. The answer is 2. For 165, alimentary canal is short because frogs are dash and hence the length of intestine is dash. Obviously, if they're telling the alimentary canal is short, which means the length of intestine must have reduced definitely. So the length of intestine is reduced. That's the first two options. Are they carnivores or they're omnivores? They are carnivores. So 165, the answer is number 1. 166. Radial symmetry is not found in adults of phylum what? So we have Hemichordata, Coelenterata, Echinodermata, and Clinophora. So if we go to see Echinodermata, we know that the larva and the adult have different symmetry, right? But now in Hemichordata, radial symmetry is not found in the adult of phylum Hemichordata. So that's the correct answer. We need to remember this because it's a direct statement. For 165, for 167. Dash is a chronic disorder in which annular walls are damaged due to respiratory surfaces decrease. Major causes. Okay. So anywhere where you see respiratory surfaces are increased or anything related to alveolar damage, the answer has to be emphysema. Because in emphysema, what are the three main clinical features for emphysema? Alveolar walls are damaged. That is why respiratory surface area is decreased. And this happens, it's a chronic disorder. Why does this happen? If I drink a cigarette once, is it going to happen? No. But if I'm a chronic smoker, yes, it will happen. Cigarette smoking is the main cause. So the answer is 1, which is emphysema and cigarette smoking. Vital capacity of lungs. Okay. So the vital capacity of lungs is what? For the total capacity of lungs, it will be tidal volume, inspiratory, expiratory reserve volume, and residual volume. But vital capacity is something that what's left behind, we don't need that. What's vital, that's important. What we are exchanging is important. So we have IRV, ERV, TV, RV. This is the total lung capacity. So we need to have the vital lung capacity, which is minus the residual volume. So the answer for 168 is option number 2. Okay. Then we have, sorry, it is my bad. I considered this to be the total volume, which is correct, minus the RV. So what will be left will be IRV, ERV, TV. Even I got confused. If we say IRV, ERV, TV minus RV, it makes no sense because how will I minus RV out of this, right? RV needs to be present. No, it doesn't. So it will be absent, which will be this answer. The answer is 163. For 169th question, We have tidal volume is approximately 500 milliliter, which is the correct answer. So A goes to 1. Let's see the correct option. It's 1 itself. So 169, A goes to 2, 500 milliliter. Expiratory reserve volume, expiratory reserve volume, residual. The residual volume is a little more than the expiratory reserve volume because all of it is not expired out, right? So it will be D matches with 3, while expiratory reserve volume matches with 4. Okay. Next answer, 170. Leukocytes are also known as WBC. So we have RBC, WBC, platelets. RBCs are erythrocytes, WBCs are leukocytes, and platelets are thrombocytes. Okay. Now leukocytes are colorless. Why? Because they do not have any hemoglobin, obviously, and they are nucleated, but they are less in number as compared to RBCs, which are how much? 6,000 to 8,000 per millimeter cube. So the answer is white blood cells. They lack hemoglobin 6,000 to 8,000. For 161, 171, which is the following statement is true for circulatory pathways. Okay, so circulatory pathways are of two types, open and closed. So this statement is correct, D. In closed circulatory system, blood is pumped by heart, passes through large vessels into sinuses. No, that happens in open circulatory system. In closed circulatory system, it is supposed to flow through blood vessels, right? It will never go into sinuses, which is an open space. So this statement is wrong. Open circulatory is present in arthropods and mollusks. That's correct because they are uh, the little lesser developed category, right? And in annelids and chordates, they are more developed. So they have a closed circulatory system. So A, B, and D is correct, which is the first option. So answer for 171 is the first option. Okay.